Alright, I'm just about to start editing this video and I realized I didn't do a very good intro. So in the last few weeks we've actually had 6 videos posted before this one, so make sure you go back, check those out. Started things off was 1, the seasonal guide to brook trout, deeper review video, Brendan's top 5 mistakes, Brookies or Bust trailer, Brookies or Bust episode 1, and Brookies or Bust episode 2. So make sure you go back, check out all this brand new content, and stay tuned to this one. Welcome back to another Average Joe's Fishing Show video. Today I am going over 5 things I wish I knew before I started backcountry brook trout fishing. My number 1 for the 5 things that I wish I knew before starting backcountry fishing would have to be sleep and the things that are involved with sleeping in the backcountry. Poor sleep affects everything. It affects your energy levels, it affects your patience and decision making, and it affects your motivation to keep moving forward and putting in those long days on the water. Early on, it's easy to underestimate how much fatigue builds up after a long day of paddling, fishing, portaging, and just burning through all your energy stores in your body. Now, in the beginning, at least for me, my go-to choice was a hammock. They're super lightweight and compact. They're about this big, weigh a couple of pounds, and you throw them in your pack and you're good to go. All you need is a sleeping bag. Now, after my first handful of trips, I wasn't getting the best sleep, and I thought, man, this really sucks. Although a tent setup is a little bit more weight, I think the trade-off is the comfortability of the tent. You're laying flat on the ground. We bring a little air mattress. You lay flat on the ground. You're in what feels like a little bit of a sheltered home, so to speak, even though the walls on the hammock are the same thickness as the walls on the tent. It just gives you that home comfort feeling. The tent is nice. You're laying flat on the ground. Your back doesn't get cold. Your feet don't go up above your head. You get a really comfortable sleep. And for me, that was so important. That is my number 1. Being comfortable, sleeping well, and having high energy for the next day. How could I improve this to enjoy myself more in the backcountry? One thing I'd like to note is we are super excited for this year. We've teamed up with Amic camping equipment, and this year we're going to be using their lay flat hammocks. Now, these lay flat hammocks are designed basically as a floating tent. Essentially, your air mattress goes in the hammock. That's your barrier for your back, so you stay nice and warm, and you still have your sleeping bag, but you're essentially elevated off the ground. So you get all the benefits of a tent. You're in the air, and why that's so important, you can put it anywhere. Roots, rocks, that sort of thing. You're not worrying about stuff puncturing holes in your little air mattress. And rain. When it rains, you're not getting wet from underneath. You still got to make sure you have a tarp above, but you're not getting that runoff that's coming down through. It could potentially come into your tent. So super excited for that, and I think that is my number 1. Just being comfortable, getting well rested, and putting a good smile on your face for the next day, because you don't want to wake up grumpy, cold, miserable. It's just not a good time. So if you're sleeping well, you're going to have a better experience in the backcountry. Now, my next point might confuse a lot of people. I'm going to break this down really slowly and try to explain it, but there's a few key points in here that can make specifically your fishing side for trout better capitalized in the backcountry. Now, the timing after ice out. Yes, you can go too early. A lot of people are so gung-ho, they want to get out there as soon as the ice leaves the lake, fish. Trust me, I've done it both at ice out, literally the day was leaving the lake, and I've done it too late, and I've done it right on time. Meaning there's a sweet spot in mid-May that is the ideal time to be in the backcountry for brook trout. Some of you may be wondering, what do you mean too early? How is that even possible? The lake is uniformly cold, meaning it's the exact same temperature on the surface as it is on the bottom. Meaning, yes, the trout can go anywhere, but the bait fish and that sort of thing aren't where they are going to be in the spring yet. They're kind of scattered, they're everywhere. So the trout are going to be everywhere. Once that water warms up and the shoreline is getting a few degrees warmer than the rest of the lake, so the shore is somewhere around 45 degrees Fahrenheit, those bait fish the little perch and the shiners and stuff, they're pushing into that warm water, and the trout they're going to be right there behind them. That is the best time to go. The trout are on shore, they're easy to pattern, easy to find, and you've hit that perfect time in May when the water is about 45 to 55 degrees. That's the time to go. Now, going too late. I would say going too late is almost better than going too early, because you can still find the fish. Those fish, instead of being in 6 to 7 feet, they're going to be in 15 feet on the same shoreline structure. So super easy. They're just going to be out a little deeper in that cooler water, about 8 to 10 feet down, where the water temperature is a little bit more in their active range. They really like that 45 to 55 degree temperature. So once you get a little bit deeper, about 10 feet down, say, that's their sweet spot, kind of late May. So they're going to be, 10 feet or deeper and push in to feed. So going late is more than okay. You just troll a little bit deeper in that same section of shore that maybe you've had success on in the past. Number 3, don't overpack. Almost everyone starts a backcountry trip and they overpack. We've seen things, coolers, water jugs, tackle boxes, huge friggin' tackle boxes. We've seen it all, everything. Kayaks on a 2K portage, waders, like we've seen everything. And it's crazy. If you don't need it, don't bring it. Pack light, bring a water purifier. We use a platypus filter, or you can use the iodine tabs. You don't need waders in the backcountry. That's something for day trips on a creek, not backcountry lakes in Algonquin. Tackle boxes. Just bring a nice little tackle box with 20 or 30 baits. You're never going to use them all. You'll find one that works, and that's probably what you're going to stick to for the weekend. You don't need a whole huge tackle box of lures in the backcountry. Now, with this and the overpacking thing, my third point is portage and one carry. Now, if you're doing a backcountry trip with your family and you have a 200 meter or a 500 meter portage and you have a couple of trips, not a big deal. This point really isn't for you then. It's for the guys going deep in the backcountry, portage one time. If you're putting in a 10 to 12 hour day, a 1 kilometer portage single carry turns into 3K double carrying. So yes, you're gonna have less weight per trip, but you're walking it 3 times. To me, it's important to say, hey, 1 kilometer for us is about a 15-minute walk. If I gotta carry this pack, get her done, 15 minutes, get to the other side and keep going. If I have to do double carrying every portage, a 10-hour day turns into a 20-hour day, right? And what that basically means is I'm gonna have to camp halfway somewhere and then continue on again. So if I can shorten my travel time in half, that means I can double my fishing time. And for us, that's huge. So single carry is my third point. Number 4, bite windows are real. And what do I mean by that? Well, the first couple times I fished Algonquin, it seemed like the fish bit all day, or they bit first thing in the morning or whatever. And it just seemed like the first couple times were a really good experience all around. You'd have a real bad rainy day, not catch any fish, but this was all kind of a given. And in spring specifically, bite windows are huge. Like, the fish will be semi-active all day, but there's going to be a period of time in that day or every other day that those fish are going to feed heavy for probably about 2 to 3 hours. Now that time could be at 10 a.m., could be at 2 p.m., 5 p.m., I don't know. Typically what we've seen is like an early afternoon. Once the water has warmed up a few degrees, those fish get active, they turn on. 2 to 3 p.m., they bite till about 4 p.m. and then they shut down. Each lake isn't going to be like that, but typically I would say an average is like an early afternoon bite. Bite windows are huge, so it's important basically to fish all hours of the day when you're in the backcountry. You know, you go out for the morning, catch 1 or 2, have breakfast or an early lunch, go back out, catch 3 or 4, and then all of a sudden, boom, bite window, we just caught 10. Okay, great, let's rinse and repeat, do that again tomorrow. Or on the next lake, do that again. Like the bite window was 1 to 3, okay, we're gonna travel the morning and focus our fishing of the pattern that we've noticed. The bite window is 1 to 3, right? And I think that's really important. In the springtime, I think it takes a little bit of time for that water to warm up and the fish to get active, and bite windows can happen so fast. Light switch and they're on, light switch and they're off. So it's important to be on the water at all times to capitalize on those bite windows. My number 5 point is going to be more related to fishing, specifically, I guess, lake trout and speckled trout or brook trout when trolling. Now, when we're trolling, it's ideal to have a 8 to 9 foot rod. The old lead core rods for lake trout are the 5 to 6 foot pool cues, and they have no action, and like they don't absorb any head shakes, they don't play the fish at all. You tend to kind of lose fish because there's no, like, the rod doesn't absorb anything, it just, the fish shake off so easy. With brook trout, a lot of people will just bring their standard medium 6'6" rods, and that's great. If you're just going like once a year, the 6'6" or 7 foot medium light rods are perfect. They're a great all-round rod. But if brook trout's something you really want to like specialize in, I think it's important to get an 8 to 9 foot rod, something medium light, medium action. When you're trolling and those trout bite, the rod really loads up and almost basically sets the hook for you. And then those trout are deep, you got, you know, a decent amount of line out. The rod absorbs the head shakes. Keep your drag a little bit looser just because there's a lot of pull there with that long rod, and just enjoy the fight and bring them in. The long rods seem to be such a big part at keeping fish pinned and enjoying it better when trolling. And like I said, if you're only going one time a year, once or twice a year, a 7 foot medium light is going to do all of your casting and all of your trolling needs. It's an absolutely perfect all-round rod. But if you're specializing in, hey, I'm going to pick this up, I'm going to get a rod for real for trolling in spring, summer, or fall, a nice 8 foot or 8'6" medium light is going to be a really nice trolling rod for you. All right, I'm going to do a little bonus, a little 6th thing that I wish I knew before I started brook trout fishing in the backcountry, and I'm gonna have to say safety. Safety is something huge, and I don't think it's even really talked about too often for backcountry. And there's a handful of things that we do to make sure that we're safe and we get home with all of our fingers and all of our toes. One, we don't bring an axe or a hatchet anymore. We used to. It's just a few stories from friends that it's not worth the risk. We use a saw for cutting all of our wood. It seems to work really great. We always bring a first aid kit, and I think that's really important. If you're flaying fish or you're starting a fire and you get a little burn or you get a little cut, you have that kit for all your little minor problems that you can fix on site that you don't need to leave for. Like if you have a burn, like we have a little bit of burn cream, you get a cut, we got bandages and stuff. You can fix it right on the spot. You don't need to leave, and you don't need to worry about it getting dirty and infected. So safety is something that I think it's overlooked at the beginning when you're first starting to go in the backcountry, and we missed it too. We didn't really have any huge scares. It was more like, ooh, I cut my finger this time, or ooh, I did this, or ooh, I did that. And it's like, after a few years, we kind of realized like, hey, I think it's important to bring a first aid kit, not bring the axe anymore. I have a Zoleo, and Brennan just picked up an InReach. There's just these few things, and it's peace of mind that it's safety in the backcountry, ensuring you get home. If you rolled your ankle, you have a device that you can call somebody. Yeah, we haven't had any scares, but we don't want to be in a situation without a way of touching base with somebody or fixing it in the field ourselves. So I think safety is huge. Get yourself a little backcountry first aid kit, put in some burn cream, bandages, different things like that. Get yourself an InReach or a Zoleo or a satellite communicator. Even the iPhones now have satellite communication. Works okay. Brennan was using that last year, but the Garmin's or the Zoleos, they work all the time. It might take 10 minutes to get signal, but it'll work. I've been way back in the backcountry alone, and I've made texts without any problems. It's just something that I think everybody should do. So that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned to the next one. And those are my top 5 things plus a bonus things that I wish I knew before I started fishing brook trout in the backcountry. Stay tuned to the next one.